No, but I do want to look at the HEX chart.
Yeah, let's do that because great stream today. Shout out Corey Geary and Johnny Chaos. Awesome stream on Corey's channel today. I guess the debate, I mean, it wasn't PHEX versus EHEX or anything like that.
No.
It was, I mean, it was really just Johnny talking for the whole time, which was fantastic, honestly. I mean, I haven't really seen him for a while, and I think he came out firing really hard. And we've agreed with his stance on this the entire time. Like, since the launch of Pulse Chain, you don't shoot and kill one of your babies. You know, there are 2 hexes, and ideally we would have had parity at whatever price that would be from the very beginning. And yeah, people have actively shouted that down. And Johnny even amended it. He was like, if I were Richard, I wouldn't have said it this way. I'd have said it a different way. And I agree with him. But yeah, EHEX, we got BankX just about out of their allotment. They have, I think, 6 million hex left, and that's it.
That's it.
So yeah, what do you make of all this?
Well, no, it looks really good. As far as the other charts go, this one is looking pretty solid as well. This one has eclipsed a high that we haven't seen. Okay, there was a tiny one here where it did get up to the 0031, but we are approaching that level with some big candles and some strength. I'm seeing a lot of these that ran up there are almost repeating, right? So this previous level back here was the high for the longest time of 003, essentially. And then we just kind of fizzled and faded. Now we've made 2 attempts at it, and we are almost over it again. You know, as you start to tap on these old resistance levels, they become weaker and weaker. I know a lot of the liquidity is drying up. There's a lot less for sale. So that is playing a big part of this. Also, you know, a lot of the comments that Johnny made today were spot on, and they always have been. Nothing's changed. Again, ideally, what would have happened where the 2 would have had parity, there would have been no confusion. You buy hex, it is hex. You bridge it over, it's the other hex. You bridge it over, it's the other hex. No questions asked. Which one's better? How do I get over there? It would have been a great on-ramping tool to buy one into Ethereum, send it over to Pulse Chain, and have the same value. I always thought that's what should have been done with the supply, not stake 98% of it. However, I agree with what was done because the inflation was getting out of control, right? People were just using that to just dump and dump and dump. So, okay, now that that's been done, how do we get these things to be much closer in value? It makes so much more sense to have it that way. I know a lot of people may not agree. The better chain, you know, we want people to move on to Pulse Chain. But again, you've got to have more ramps to get there. And having Ethereum Hex and PHEX be the same price and a easy bridge from one to the other, I just think that's a no-brainer. And it would make it so much easier than having to on-ramp with anything else. You're causing you know, you would have some arbitrage on the 2. People buy it up, sell on the other, and keep them even price. But yeah, I mean, that's just in a perfect scenario. I think that would be the ideal way to go. So they're still the same. They're the same code. They work the same. It is a very unique type of coin where it doesn't really exist anywhere else. You know, it's still very, very special, and people just haven't caught on to that and realized it yet.
And that's something I said to John. Johnny brought it up today, and I agree with him still. I mean, whether Hex is anybody's biggest bag or not in this ecosystem, like, I do think it remains Richard's most unique creation. I mean, really, actually, if you think of it, it's his only creation in a way, because
it is.
The other stuff have been forks. Now, Pulse X obviously is a much, much, much better product than Uniswap, for example, and you know, there's merits to all that stuff. It's just that they are forks and kind of adaptations of existing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're compilations of other software that works well. Hex is original. Hex is you know, from scratch type creation that again exists really nowhere else. You cannot get trustless yield anywhere else without giving up
that contract from running.
Exactly. I didn't say that, but You can't get it anywhere else without giving up. There's so much risk in the other places. So yeah.
What do you make? And I see Bitfinesse reply to this, but from Nathan Julian, do you think EHEX will just cut through at SNR, have this? I don't know what he was saying there. And have God candle to 50 cents Ewok. Basically, the liquidity is so low on EHEX. Is his point?
Yeah, it could happen with a $500,000 buy. It could easily happen. It wouldn't take much. Do I think it will cut through? No. I think there are still going to be the people out there that have some that are still wanting to be on the other side. I think you'll see some sell off, but it won't take much to get it there. I think it can easily get back to the 50 cent area without much pressure. You are going to see, again, you're going to see massive dips on anything that runs that hard. Anything that works, that does a 10,000x like it did before, you're going to see 50 and 60% pullbacks of people selling. It's just how it all works out. That the sellers become weaker and it starts to move much easier.
Yeah. And from Alan here, he said, if RH did the same kill tweet, I don't think people would FUD EHEX the same way today. I guess he means if he didn't do it, I don't know. But I never really agreed with how RH posted that either. And I think he kind of regrets it in retrospect, because I remember him making memes about how people reacted to that post back when he did it,
Well, it was basically him stating, well, it looks like the market decided, stating what was going on. He didn't FUD anything. He said the market decided. I didn't do anything, but people really misconstrued it, took it out of context, and said, "Oh, Richard said sell your EHEX." Well, that's not anything close to what he said. He said it looks like people are going over here. And I think what he was doing was trying to get more attention to Pulse Chain at that time. It wasn't anything about buying or selling one or the other. Again, we moved over there because the gas fees were bad, right? I'll bring up another quote that Johnny said out this afternoon. The roads were horrible. It was like the snow plows had run over them 50 times and created so many potholes that it was terrible. Well, it got repaved. It looks like, as of right now, the gas seems to be better. So when things get fixed, okay, well, now there may be more reality in keeping them a little bit closer to parity. I don't know. That would really piss a lot of people off, though. It'd be funny.
Right. Rin had an interesting, and then we can wrap up on this point if I can actually scroll up to get his comment. He said about the kill tweet, he did that on purpose. I bet he knows his influence and what his words carry. Well, he clearly did the post on purpose. I guess what you mean is like, what is there more intent behind it? And it's an interesting thing. And like, there's a lot of people that also have thought that the BankX thing has been a psyop too. Like, not that they weren't really an entity that had all of this EHEX, but just this imaginary horrible. I guess it's not imaginary, but yeah, in a way, this imaginary horrible.
Well, it was
this black cloud hanging over the price's head.
Yeah. There's been bigger whales that have destroyed the price more than BankX. Actually, they haven't really hurt it too bad. Now, yeah, it's bad. Everything's bad. But in the grand scheme of things, BankX really didn't hurt the price as bad as what we thought they would. And, had we not talked about it, people probably wouldn't have even noticed, really.
Yeah.
And not just us, but everybody brought it up. It was one of those black clouds that were hanging over our heads, but they really didn't have that much effect.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, good stuff overall. EHEX looking good, and nice to see it curl back up in its ratio against HEX as well. So